Let's try this now. So you have a string, something like this is equals to Python sample string abc. I have a mapping created. Let's say this is a dictionary. So this is A to 1, B to 12, C to 3, and D to. Yeah, what will the logic? So I'm writing this function, let's say string transform. So pass this original string, pass this dictionary to this function, and this should give me the updated string. Okay, right. Yeah. So I'm saying def str underscore trans, is it the same name? So now I have this S and I have this T. Yeah. If so, keep in mind if you're iterating over a string, you'll get individual character already, right? So you are getting directly python. So basically what I need to check, whatever character I am getting, is it a key in this particular dictionary or not?
Can do first we do for I in 0 in range 0 comma
In a range.
Anything that for I in range.
Why exactly the range?
Range like we will iterate the entire string from 0 to the last.
So even if I just say S, then it will also iterate over the entire string, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll get individual character. If I say something like this, I in D, right? So it will defaultly check I in as a key only. Okay.
By default, you will take keys. So we can specify keys.
So defaultly, when I use in operator, yeah. So we can use d dot keys also. Okay.
And the
default is also in keys. So I'm taking one empty string. Okay. So I'm saying if this is in there, then so that means if I need to change it, I'm saying s1 is equals to whatever may be the old value plus it will be a number. I need to concatenate the string version of that. So I'm using string. I want to value now. I said d of I. Right? Got it? So I will be my character, right? So that should be my key. So if I say d of I, this will give me value. Okay. Else
increment.
Can I skip it directly? Do I need this else or not? No? Sure.
We need.
What if it goes to else part? So that means if it's not, so let's say take example of P, right? If I don't write anything, it will simply ignore it and it will go to 1. But I need a string that is Python sample string,
Need
but
to
in
append
that
the
S,
old
exactly,
string.
exactly.
Yes to yes one.
So
Until the
mhm.
until s of I. We need to append
Until S of,
I. With the character.
so if I say S1 plus I, will that do?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and ultimately return the S1. Okay, so there was 1A converted to 1 and just 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all right.
Yes.
So
I was converted here.
which one? So this thing. So what am I writing? If I get the value, this is numeric value. This is my string. If I can concatenate string with a number, it will throw me an error.
Okay, yeah, but it was supposed to convert only like this one ABCD to 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Exactly. So let's say while traversing, I get this A, right? I'm saying convert this A to 1 and append it
I
there.
got confused actually. I thought it was Python simple string and section simple string. I got it.
Okay. Okay. Want an easier approach to this? Oh yeah, I'll spot. Achha. So I'm iterating over this string, right? My ultimate output is expected something like this. So I want the old string as well. It just in the old string I want to do some replacements, right? So what I have done, I have taken this S1 as blank. Initially start iterating, what I'll get P.
So why it came one actually sample is there, no? Python sample string.
Yeah, so SAMPLE, right? So I'm saying if it is present in this dictionary, then replace it with its value. Okay. At the end also I have intentionally added this ABCD. So that is the reason it replaced with A with 1, B with 2, C with 2. Okay. So if we start iterating, I'll get P initially, right? If you go here, check if P present in this, no, right? Then else. But now your S1 is empty, right? So empty plus add this one character next time. So you have to maintain the old one also. Okay. All right. Okay. Right, let's take S is equals to this is my original string. I want to create a map of this. Okay, here I'm saying something s dot translate of string. Okay, so this is how we can do using built-in function. So we have this function called maketrans. So what this maketrans is, specify two strings, it will create a mapping out of it. Okay, so this will be the initial string and this is the string it will consider to be replaced with. Okay, so now I have created one mapping. So now if I have a mapping, I need to apply it on my original string. Okay, keep in mind here I'm saying str dot maketrans, something like this, and here I'm saying s dot translate. Here I'm saying translate this particular string. Okay, but here I'm saying this is the class method. Okay, so I'll come back to this in terms when we go to the oops concept.
It accepts only string.
Yes. Yes, so it's a string method, so that's why it will only accept strings. Okay. If I'm not wrong, I can create a dictionary and I can pass only one argument. Okay. But I'm not sure if the second argument is this. So if I say it is, it will give me something else. And what is this? That I don't know. So if I try this and then give it a yeah. So you can specify only one argument with this mapping. That will also work, or specify two different strings. And why it gives such weird output, that I need to check. Okay. All right. So one more thing about this, that is S1, S2. Okay. So what are the characters? So here I'm specifying something called P. What is the difference?
We are not able to see the starting of the output.
That fine still done. This fine? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Remove that.
Exactly. So it will take third parameter, whatever arguments you want to remove from the string. Okay. So it is generally used whenever, let's say, you are accepting any file names, right? And while storing, you want to make sure that there are no numbers in the file name. So you can just specify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and it will directly transform it to the normal string. Okay, so it will create a map out of it using this make trans, and you can use translate method to apply this particular map on the string.
So we have to call that make trans function to translate.
So you have to first create a map using mctrans.
Okay.
Now I have this map in S3, right? I want to now I need to apply this particular mapping over this particular string. So this is the S is my original string. Translate, and the mapping should be which we have created using mctrans.
What the translate what is it?
Means
Means it's taking the original string.
so S is the original string. Okay. One argument it will take is the map.
Okay.
That what is the mapping you want to exactly change.
Okay. It replaces.
Exactly. So in the background also it is creating one dictionary only. When you use mctrans in the background, it will create a dictionary mapping. All right. Come back to functions. Here we are. All right. So clear, default argument clear? So one more point about your default arguments. I'm saying something like this. Okay. So if I'm specifying a default argument, that should be at last. Okay. So I can specify this that everything is default, that is fine. Okay. But if I'm specifying combination of default and non-default argument, then your default argument should be at last position. Okay. Alright. So let's say now I want to create a function which will work even if I give this function call print val.
Well, this okay, well, general question about this arguments and parameters. Arguments are the values which are passed, and parameters are the variable names, right? Which are
Different.
passed. Difference between arguments and parameters.
You can use the word interchangeably. There's no difference in my arguments and my parameters. Okay. So I want a function. Even if I pass two values, same function should work. Okay. Even if I pass 5 values, my same function should work. 3 values, same function should work. Now we have seen if I specify this default argument, so it can work only if I specify either 2 values, right, or 0 values. But if I pass more than this 2, then it will throw me an error that it will say it takes 0 to 2 positional arguments, but you are passing 5, right? So I want such function which can accept any number of arguments. Okay, so that you can get using this star args. Okay. All right. So just have a look here. If I just print this args, and for now, just comment out all this function call. Let's concentrate on one. What is the data type? Okay. Again, so if you have n number of arguments, what Python will do? So okay, so you're passing 5 arguments, pack them into a tuple, and pass it to the function. Okay. Now this ARGS is a standard convention for accepting variable length positional arguments. Okay, so it's not mandatory to use ARGS. Even if I write this L, that is also fine. The mandatory thing is star. Okay, but by convention, if you want to specify variable length positional argument, ARGS is. Okay, so while using this ARGS, you will not use star. It's just while accepting the value, you will use ARGS. Right? So now if I want the sum of all the elements, like, can I say this? Return sum of ARGS. This is my built-in functions, right?
But if you want to print upon individually on those parameters,
yeah, it's iterable. It's a tuple,
okay,
right?
so it's a tuple stored in ARGS.
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
do
do anything, do anything. Okay. So third thing we have seen is variable length. Okay, let's try if my remaining function call will work or not. Any idea why I'm getting this none?
Because you are printing that print file method. It's like the return type is not known.
By the way, where is my logic?
No, you commented.
Okay. So now I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. Okay. So I'm returning this. If I do not return anything, but still I'm printing the value, now my function is not returning anything. That's why it will print none for that. Okay. So this way, using ARJS, now I can accept n number of values. Okay, I don't have any restriction now. Okay, so what will be the data type of ARJS? It's a tuple. Okay. So the argument systems which we have discussed so far, in that the sequence matters, right? So when I use positional arguments, so it will be mapped to the first variable, this is to the second variable, this is to the third, and so on, right? So next technique is something called keyword. Okay, so I'm writing the simple function if username equal to abc and password equals 12345, then just print me valid user, else print invalid user. Alright, okay. So defaultly, if I just say something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if I say ABC, right? And if I give a call, it will return me invalid user. Why? Because now your username is passed here and this is your password, right? So Python allows you to explicitly specify for which argument exactly you are passing the value. Okay, so now I can explicitly specify that password is 12345 and username is equals to ABC. Okay, so in the next function call, we can write in the correct way, that is the same. So now let's say ABC is PQR, password is equals to honesty. Okay, so if you use keyword arguments, now your order will not matter.
These are keywords, username, password.
Yeah, so these are the keywords I am defining, right? So this is, I am defining two parameter name. One is username, second is password. Now it's mandatory if I'm giving a call to this, and if I want to use keyword parameter passing techniques, these two keywords should match. So I cannot write this as just something like this and like this, it will not work. So it should be password and it should be username. So the only thing is allowed is you can change the sequence. So you are explicitly specifying that, okay?
And how it's different from the one you declare? Do you think it's effective function?
Sorry?
I mean, that is library what get user details.
No, this is I am defining the function.
So, username is written password.
Mm-hmm.
If you write AB also.
That?
And username you write A, password you write B. Then also it will work.
Yeah. So if I do not specify here, right? If I while calling, if I just specify the values, that is ABC and 1 2 3 4 5, how defaultly it will map the first value which you are passing always will be username only. The second value which you will pass will be password. But now what I have done, that first value which I am specifying is my password, and the second value which I am specifying is my username. So now my sequence will not matter, that if I have 3 arguments, I don't have to always pass all these parameters in a sequence. I just explicitly specify, okay, this is the value for this particular parameter, this is the value for this parameter.
If you don't write directly, if you write 1 2 3 4 5, that username will not take permission.
If I do this, print username and password. Okay, now it will be sequential mapping. First thing will be mapped to username, second thing will map to password. Okay, but if I write the keywords, okay, so now even though you are passing this username as a second, it will correctly map with this parameter. Okay, so this is called as your keyword argument system.
Keyword argument
System. So now let's say if I do not pass value of the password, I want to set it to the default. Let's say this is 1 2 3 is the default password. Okay, so the same thing actually you are doing in your print function. So you have keyword arguments, okay, which are set to a default values. So if you see the function call, how you are calling, you are saying password equal to 1 2 3 4 5, username equal to ABC. Okay, now when you are printing some values, let's say print 10, 20, you specify let's say specify the end first. End is equals to now space, okay, comma, separator is equals to now comma. Okay, so this will work. Now if you just check the documentation, okay, if you see the sequence, first value is there, second they have specified separator. But as it is a keyword argument, now your sequence will not matter. You can write a separator first at or second. It just what matters is you have to write this exact word separator. Okay, so this is just an example of your keyword arguments assigned to a default value. Okay. So we have seen variable length positional arguments. We have something called variable length keyword arguments also. So now if I say what is the data type?
Hmm.
Is it a tuple?
Dictionary.
Okay. So if you're passing variable and positional arguments, it will pass it as tuple. If you're passing variable length keyword argument, it will pass it as a dictionary. Okay. So what should I write? I want same program to work using this keyword arguments. Do the changes. So now I don't have anything called username. I don't have anything called password. I have this keyword arguments which contain this password equal to this, username equal to this. What changes should I make here? Okay, so here what I'm comparing, username with ABC. Ultimately, I want value of this username. What is this username now? It is a key. Can I write like this? Can I write like this? This is my entire dictionary. From that, check the key username. Is it equal to ABC or not? And okay, so this is done, and so this is a format. Okay. Right. If you want to write a very generic function, okay. So here we have seen variable length argument, variable length keyword, variable length positional argument. You want to write a function which will accept anything. Pass anything to that function, it will accept. Okay. Just write like this. Okay. Now you will find this is very common syntax in a Python world. Okay. So if you're writing any function like this, then pass any kind of values to this function, it will accept. So whatever positional arguments you're passing, it will defaultly map it to the ARGS. Whatever keyword arguments you are passing, it will map it to the keyword. Okay. But only thing you need to take care of is okay. So I am saying something like gen function. Here I'm passing 10, 20, 30. Then let's say num1 is equals to 500. Okay, right. And num2 is equals to 600. Okay. So now I have 3 positional arguments and 2 keyword arguments, right? So this function will work automatically. These 3 things will pass to ARGS. These two things will pass to this. Only one thing you need to make sure that if I do something like this, okay. So whenever you are specifying keyword and a positional argument, your positional argument cannot come after the keyword arguments. Okay, so you need to specify all the positional arguments first and then specify all the keyword arguments. Okay, so this kind of functions are very much useful whenever you are working with some external interfaces. So if you are getting a data from multiple interfaces, now you cannot specify that all the data from multiple interfaces will be exactly in the same format. Right? So in that case, you can write this generic functions. Also, one of the very important use case of Python is it is used as your glue language. So if you say in terms of use cases, so this is how Google uses Python. So a very important portion of the Google code is written in Python. But if you still compare the performance of C and a Python, obviously C is better than Python. Okay, no doubt in that. Okay. So whenever you need a very good performance, obviously everybody will switch to C. But what is the advantage of Python is very good glue language. So how it is used generally, it is mainly used if you go on the official website of Python also, they have mentioned that Python can be used for rapid application development. So you can write your entire application using Python. Okay, the deployment will be faster. Once your one version is released, if you think that particular part is a bottleneck for you, you can replace that particular part using your C implementation. Okay. Now, Python can work with any interface, be it your any language. If you want to replace a particular part with a C, Python can work very well with your C. If you want to apply with any of the cloud library, yes, it is compatible with that. So this is one of the very popular use case of Python currently used in the industry. That if you have one bottleneck, okay, go back and switch to the C. And but for gluing purpose, obviously Python can be used. If you have any two kind of interfaces you want to connect to interfaces, Python will help you to write the code in a better way, in faster way if you compare it with any programming language. Okay, so if you want to connect two things, yes, Python can be one solution. Okay, so this is how you can write generic functions in Python. Alright. So we have seen variable and positional arguments. There is one reverse case for that. So let's say you have one function which accepts three arguments. Okay, so now this function is defined. Okay, you want to work on this function. So let's say for now I'm just printing this num1, num2, num3. Okay, all right. Now you are getting these three variables into a list. Okay, now this is just one example. The reason I'm taking list is, let's say you are getting this data from a database and you are accepting it inside a list. Okay, now to pass to the same particular function, I need to pass it, I need to separate this out and then pass it to the function, right? So if I say print val, now as this function takes three arguments, if I want to pass all these three values, what I need to do? I need to say L of 0, L of 1, okay, L of 2. Now this is a very common case in all programming language, that you can do this way in, be it in C, be it in Java. Okay, so let's say you are getting some data from your files or your database, or let's say a list. You don't have to actually write it index by index. Just write this. Okay, so this is called your unpacking. So now you have the data in a list, you are unpacking it, and this unpacking will be passed to this num1, num2, num3. Okay, so in case of variable arguments, we have seen I have multiple arguments. I am packing everything into a tuple and passing to a function. But here, so here my intention is not to pass the entire list. If I want to pass the entire list, I can say L here, accept anyone L, and I can get the entire list, right? But my intention is I want this data to be passed separately. Okay.
The length of the list and the arguments.
Yeah. Okay. Now it will say print var text 3 positional argument but 4 are given. Why? Because now it will try to pack it and send it. It will try to unpack it and send it. When it will unpack, it will get 4 values, here 3 values. Okay. Let's try the same case for your dictionary now. So I'm saying num1.
Here instead of number, 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 right? Scalars.
Alright. So, okay. I have a list. Now I am unpacking them and passing it as star yes, right? Ultimately will get tuple as per my understanding. Yeah. Okay, but it's like you're nullifying the entire effect. Okay. So same thing if I try with a dictionary now. I have a dictionary. I am getting these 3 values as a value in a dictionary. Num2 is equals to 20 and num3 is 30. These are my keys. Okay. If I say print val of d. Okay. If I say only d, it will throw me an error that expected 3 values, but you are passing only. Right, so it's saying missing 2 required positional argument num2 and num3. All right, let's try start. What it is passing? Okay, so it will only pass the keys. To pass the values. Okay, so it's a reverse case of your keyword arguments, variable and keyword arguments. Okay, so ultimately it will convert to a keyword arguments only. Okay, do you think sequencing matters here? Okay, because it will convert it to the keyword arguments. If I say num1 is 30, num2 20, num3 Okay. So these are the different parameter passing techniques which you have. Now based on your use case, you can use any of this. So where's our list? Right. So we started with positional. So it will be sequential mapping. Then we have seen default. So I can assign a default value. The example is your print function. Then I can say variable and positional argument. So that I can write using star args. If I say star args, what will be the data type? So this will be a tuple. Then we have keyword argument system. So if I specify keyword argument system, now sequencing will not matter. Next we have seen variable length keywords. So that we have seen with this. Okay. What is the data type? Okay, so this will be a dictionary. So the same thing I can say. So I have multiple values and I am packing into one dictionary, or I am packing them into one tuple. Okay. And then lastly we have seen unpacking. Right? So I have three values into a list. I can use star L to pass this three value from list to function. Okay. All right. So we'll stop here for today. Next time we will discuss scope of a variable. Okay. Then we will discuss recursion. Then we will discuss method overloading. Okay. And then we will see something called as modules. Okay. Do you think method overloading is possible in Python? So first of all, what is method overloading?
Simple. With the same name, we can pass multiple arguments.
So I will have two functions with same name. I can say it's overriding only if either I have a difference in total number of parameters, or I can say difference in data type of, right? Are we specifying data type anywhere while passing the value? No, right? So that is the reason we don't have that case of data type. So that is the reason Python do not supports method overloading. Okay. The reason it do not support because it do not need method overloading.
When how does the memory works when the function is created?
Like
Suppose for arguments.
So you're asking about this call by value, call by reference thing?
Yes.
Right. So we'll come to that. So that's another interesting point. So it is not fixed that what is call by value. So if you see the example of my C, so it's my call by value. So we have called this concept using that we can make it call by reference also, right? So in Python we can say something as call by object. Reason it behaves differently on the basis of your data types. Okay, so if you observe it with integers, you will feel that this is my call by value. But if I try the same thing with a list, then you'll feel like now it's called by reference. So you can read about it. So it's like a huge argument over the internet. So few of them will give an example that okay, take a numbers, pass these things, get output. You can see the original is not modified, so you can say this is call by value. End of the story. Few of them will take example of a list and tell okay, here original thing is getting modified. This is called by reference. End of the story. Join this two part. You can see this is actually that is the reason it is called as call by object. It completely depends on the data. Okay, so we'll discuss this next time with example. Okay. Chalo.